In August of 1890, beneath the iron vaults of the Praga station annex in Warsaw, a mislabeled crate arrived from the Vienna Technische Museum. Inventory number blurred, destination erased. Inside lay a rolled blueprint of a concourse fountain whose pipes ended not in drains but pistons. The catalogue called it decorative hydraulics. A photograph beside it showed platform lamps glowing where no wires were visible. Officials said the pressure came from municipal mains. The margin showed something else. Arrows channeling flow toward a rotary table. A brass tag, acid-etched, read, "Do not vent while resonant." Dust drifted in the skylight. Below the platforms, water moved, a pulse. Station records say the fountain was never built. The photograph shows it running. Passengers blurred. A clerk's note on the ledger, reprint without stamp. History remembers progress, but forgets what it replaced. The blueprint crackled open. The lamps seemed to flicker for a moment. By late September of 1890, in Warsaw's Praga annex, station minutes describe a proposed ornamental pressure fountain intended to cool the concourse and refresh tired travellers. The artifact on the foreman's desk is a large format drawing, a circular basin feeding 4 vertical cylinders below the tiles, their rods coupled to a low, toothed ring, precisely where the luggage turntable stands today. Official claim, municipal water, would rise, fall, spill prettily, and drain away. Archival evidence, a second sheet, initialed MK, aligns outlet ducts with the turntable's axle. Contradiction, the photo album labelled 1891, opening day, shows the same ring turning, yet the ledger says the mechanism was postponed until 1892. We were told to call it a fountain, a porter later scribbled. The floor hums faintly at 112 cycles per second when night trains leave, evening heat, glass breathes. Today, the turntable remains. What moved it is not recorded. In the archive, it was labelled temporary. In stone, it was built to last. In early October of 1889, at the Gare du Nord annex near the exposition grounds, polished cast iron water columns feed steam cranes, so the guides say. The artifact is a postcard. Platform lamps illuminated beneath a glazed roof. No overhead wires are visible, though the lamps are evenly spaced along a water main painted on a maintenance plan. Official claim, gaslight. Archival evidence, the same lamps in a later photograph show no mantles and emit a cooler glow. Contradiction, a caption printed 1892 includes a retouch cable that disappears in the next edition. The iron floor tingled when the flow was high, writes a travelling engineer. Rain drums on glass. A low vibration passes through iron stanchions like a bell half struck, settling on a familiar 112. Today, the columns stand as hydrants, repainted. Their flanges still show blank bosses where dynamos might have bolted, though no catalogue admits it. Progress was celebrated, the mechanism was not explained. On a fog-bound morning in November of 1890, at the Midland Goods approach to St Pancras, inspectors tore the hydraulic accumulator house tied to the city's high-pressure network. The artifact is an accumulator cylinder stamped number 17, 1888, connected by riveted mains to lifts and capstans. Official claim: steam engines drive pumps. Accumulators smooth the pressure. Archival evidence: a small brass plate in the stairwell, later pried off, reads, "Do not open balancing vents while resonant." Contradiction: a maintenance book says the west lift was installed in 1891, yet a receipt lists replacement leather cups, 1889. The manometer ticks when the trains depart, notes a foreman in pencil. Coal soot hangs in the air, the gauge needle shivers, then steadies at a pressure that, when the flow is graphed, oscillates at 112 cycles each minute. Today, preserve pumps sit silent in museums. The pipe runs, capped, still traverse the station's sub-basements. If history is written by survivors, who erased the rest? By late August of 1893, at the World's Columbian Exposition's terminal station, A circular basin sits inside the great iron shed. The artifact is a lithographed plan of a refreshment fountain, but the section reveals rack and pinion teeth beneath its rim and a shaft leading to a line-shifting mechanism. Official claim: scenic ornament for the public. Archival evidence: a night photograph shows the basin surface trembling with a standing wave under arc-like light, yet the fair's power ledger shows a blackout at that hour. Contradiction: the plate mark reads, printed in 1894, but the photographer's diary claims the exposure was taken in June of 1893. When the storm came, the water sang, a groundsman wrote. Thunder shakes the roof, the hum rises to a steady 112, as switchmen push a lever and tracks glide with uncanny ease. After the fair, the fountain disappears, the bolt pattern remains. A curator later noted the basin's rim was scored with thread marks. Something had connected there, something heavy, something removed before the catalogue was printed. The record ends, the foundation does not. In January of 1892, along the Wienfluss, Otto Wagner's Stadtbahn station, plans specify a modest service building tiled in green. The artifact survives as a blueprint elevation. The basement plan is absent. Official claim: a boiler room, later converted to storage. Archival evidence: a plumbing diagram, page torn, shows a closed loop from river intake to station canopy gutters and back to a mysterious pressure bell. Contradiction: the bell is stamped 1895, yet the station opened in 1891. Conductors said their ticket punches clicked faster when the gutters ran full, recalls a clerk. Frost whitens the parapets. Beneath the tiles, a rhythmic tremor sets in, and iron brackets quiver in sympathetic time. Today, the U4's little pump house still stands. A modern plaque names it utility. No mention of the missing bell. Meanwhile, another photograph emerges. A man's hand points to a sealed valve, marked with that familiar phrase, "Do not vent while resonant." The building is preserved, its purpose forgotten. Some architecture outlasts its own explanation. On a dry afternoon in May of 1890 at the Tiflis rail terminus, a small dome structure of brick and copper squats beside the platform. The artifact is a Russian-language site plan labelling it water tank. The Cyrillic caption is later scratched to near illegibility. Official claim: fire reservoir. Archival evidence: Telegraph logs show spikes of static precisely as the tank was being filled. Contradiction: a station report dates the tank to 1889. A cornerstone bears 1892. When the dome rang, the telegraph stuttered, the operator wrote, then crossed it out. Heat ripples the air. A low bell tone hangs at 112 as a valve wheel turns. Today, the dome remains as a storehouse. Its interior plaster is cut with shallow ribs. Helmholtz throats, an engineer would say, driving resonance into pipes that no longer connect anywhere official maps admit. The telegraph wires were replaced in 1903. The dome was not. Silence covered what sound once revealed. During the monsoon of 1887 at Victoria Terminus in Bombay, photographers capture stone cisterns perched high behind friezes of flora. The artifact is a construction ledger listing roof tanks with unusual bronze valves engraved in Roman numerals rather than the expected imperial markings. Official claim: reserve water for cleaning and firefighting. Archival evidence: a maintenance sketch links the cistern drains to a basement shaft housing a turntable. Contradiction: a British report declares the tanks purely decorative in 1890, yet an earlier invoice pays for pressure packings for lower pistons in 1888. We could feel the floor ring like a bell when the tanks were flushed, a fitter wrote to his brother. Warm rain hisses, stone sweats. The sound thins into a steady frequency as trains roll in, and the great hall's lamps burn without visible feed. Today, the building still stands. Those blind windows conceal capped outlets, their threads unworn. In the archive, it was labelled temporary. In stone, it was built to last. In February of 1891, beneath Turin's Porta Nuova, masons set red brick in a circular pit where a turntable will settle. The artifact is a section drawing showing a chamber beneath the pit with curved baffles and 4 narrow necks opening into the ring. Geometry any acoustician would recognize. Official claim: echo reduction for shunting noise. Archival evidence: a marginal note, signed AF, specifies neck length to tune pressure hammer at 112. Contradiction: an inspector's report claims the chamber was removed in 1895, yet a postcard from 1902 shows the baffle pattern clearly in a fresh repair. The water hammer woke us like a distant drum, a machinist's wife wrote in a postcard. Alpine air bites, the chamber breathes with departures. Rails seem to float, and the turntable can be spun by a child's hand when the valves open in sequence. Today, the pit is intact. The necks are brick shut. Resonance was once utility. Now it is archaeology. In December of 1890 at the Nikolaevsky station, workers set a granite basin aligned tightly with the hole's long axis. The artifact is a compass rose, inlaid at the basin's lip. Its north points not to magnetic north of the time, but to true. Official claim: decorative nod to navigation. Archival evidence: a surveyor's chart overlays the basin with buried conduits that run along meridians rather than property lines. Contradiction: a plaque says installed 1891, but the stonecutter's account is dated 1889. The guard said his pocket compass stuck when he leaned on the curb, a traveller noted. Outside, winter lays felt on the city. Inside, movement is soundless except a bass tremor that emerges when the line to Tsarskoye Selo departs. Today, tourists toss coins in a modern replica. Beneath, capped pipes angle northward still, their cuts bright as if made yesterday. Geography became ornament, infrastructure became myth. On a damp morning in March of 1890, beneath Lisbon's Rossio station, a survey shows an underground cistern branching like a star under the horseshoe portal. The artifact is a tiled gauge in a basement corridor with a needle fixed at pressome 4. Official claim: water for cleaning the tunnels and the platforms. Archival evidence: a heating schedule lists no boilers in service, yet a memo praises steamless operation during Easter week. Contradiction: a receipt for coal bears the date 1889, while the steamless memo is stamped 1890. At night the tiles hummed, like glass singing, a clerk wrote in a daybook. Limestone beads with moisture. A tone settles at 112. Lamps along the concourse brighten with each valve. Turn, though no cable can be traced. Today, the tunnels breathe cool air. Restorers photographing the brick find an unlisted valve gallery, concreted over, the concrete newer than the walls. The archive closed, the corridor did not. After the quake of 1894, Yokohama Station Reconstruction Inventory lists a European water engine, 4-cylinder, with differential governor. The artifact is a manual translated from German, pages 12 through 15 are missing. Official claim: powering cranes and pumps until standard electric service arrives. Archival evidence: a margin sketch shows coils wound around columns fed by a pipe, labelled return. Contradiction: a customs log says the engine arrived in 1895. A photograph shows it in place the previous winter. Paper doors quivered when the night train left, a translator wrote, training his brush to write vibration with 2 strokes. Salt air smears the windows, the hum builds, rice paper trembles in sympathetic bands as if mapped by contour lines. Today, a museum model demonstrates a similar engine driving nothing. The docents do not mention the coils, though a column in the photograph is etched faintly with the warning, do not vent while resonant. Translation preserved the words, context was lost. By spring of 1900 in multiple capitals, Paris, Vienna, Warsaw, Budget reports declare standard electric service for stations. The artifact is a contractor's invoice for wiring installed at Warsaw's Praga Annex in May. A night photograph from April shows lamps already burning. Official claim, early tests, then full fit out. Archival evidence, the old water ledgers end with a final entry. Valves locked. Bells dismantled. Contradiction, a labour sheet lists bell removal, June 1901. A tourist snapshot from 1906 shows the dome tank in Tiflis still intact. A man with a wrench at its hatch. We were told to weld and not ask, a pipe fitter writes in neat cursive. Smoke thins, the hum falls below hearing. When the new wires are cut during a drill, the concourse dimly glows for 1 more minute, as if the floor remembered. Today, interpretive signs praise progress. The pressure gauges hang at 0, their glass intact. If history is written by survivors, who erased the rest? In the summer of 2025, during routine drainage works beneath a modern metro concourse in Lisbon, a crew opens a sandstone plug to reveal a ring conduit packed with silt. The artifact is a cast bronze valve stamped in Roman numerals. A second stamping, tested 1892, conflicts with a concrete encasement dated 1931. Official claim, redundant fire main, abandoned. Archival evidence, a conservator's photograph records a faint bass vibration when the distant pumps of the city waterworks cycle. Contradiction, the maintenance map shows no ring at this location, the ring is here. I heard the floor sing, a restorer whispers into her recorder. Cool air moves, dust lifts. At 112, the camera microphone shows a narrow band of energy, steady as a tuning fork. Today, commuters cross above the sealed gallery, the pattern underfoot echoing the pattern overhead. Arches, rings, repeating ratios. The reel clicks, the frame holds, then ends mid-flicker. The catalogue closed quietly, but the evidence was never destroyed.